CSS has become pretty smart, adding more and more features from actual programming languages. And with the addition of the add function rule, we can now create our own custom CSS functions. We start with add function and give it a name that starts with 2 dashes, just like custom properties. Then we add parentheses, and inside the function, we use result to define the value that should come out of this function. Now, the result keyword does not behave exactly like return in JavaScript, but more on that later. To use the resulting value somewhere, we simply call the function by writing its name with parentheses, exactly like you would expect. But this function is not very powerful yet. It always returns 1 rem. Where functions really shine is when we introduce parameters. A parameter is a value that we can pass into the function. Let's say we want a function that can make any color a bit transparent. This is very useful in real projects, because you often have one brand color, but then you need that color with different opacity levels, for backgrounds, borders, shadows, or hover effects. Right now, we will probably create separate custom properties, or we use the relative color syntax every time we need a different color. But this line of code is terribly complex just to get the same color a bit more transparent. So let's put that logic into a custom function instead. I call it transparent, and it takes 2 parameters, the color and the alpha, which is the opacity. The parameters also need 2 dashes. Inside the function, we access them with var, just like with custom properties. Now the result of this function should be a relative color. So I use the OKLCH format to retrieve a color from my color variable. Here I take the LCH, the lightness, chroma, and hue, and just leave them exactly like that. The thing that really matters comes after the slash, the alpha value. Here we want to use the parameter. So I also use var alpha. With this setup, everything about the color stays the same, except the alpha value. So both the color and the alpha will depend on whatever we pass into the function the moment we call it. For example, down here on the card, I can define a background color and call this transparent function. Here I pass in a color and the alpha value I want. Let's say 10% opacity, 0.1. Now, for example, on the border color, I can pass the same color and a different alpha. Theoretically, if you only want to allow transparent values for the brand color, you can hardcode the brand color into this function and only use the alpha parameter, and it would work the same way. So now in the function, we're hardcoding the brand color, and later, when we call the function, we only change the alpha. You can imagine all sorts of applications for this. But what if we don't pass a value when we call the function? For that case, we can set up a default value, like this. The standard alpha could be 0.2. So when I call the function without passing an alpha value, 0.2 would be used by default. Now, before we look at more examples, there are a few small details that make this feature much more powerful, and also a little bit different from JavaScript. First, we can make our parameters more strict by adding types. In this example, I'm saying the color parameter has to be a color. The alpha parameter has to be a number. And the function itself should return a color. So with these pointy brackets, you can define the type of the value. This is not only useful for readability, but it also makes the function safer. But there's one thing to watch out for. If I say the alpha has to be a number, then 0.2 is valid, but 20% would not match that type. If I want to allow both, I can use the type function. Now the alpha parameter can be a number or a percentage value, so both 0.2 and 20% would be allowed. Now, if we look at the result keyword in CSS, it is important that you don't confuse it with the return keyword we know from JavaScript. And yes, result defines the value that comes out of this function. But in JavaScript, once a return statement is reached, the function exits immediately. In CSS, that is not how it works. CSS keeps evaluating the function body, and the last matching result wins, not the first return. That means if I write another result later in the same function, and use the color red for example, then this will override the first result, and the color will always be red. And that actually makes sense when you think about CSS, because later declarations can override earlier declarations. But how can we use this behavior to our advantage? One example would be to use a media query, where we change the result based on the screen size. When I resize the window, the color changes because of this media query. So the big idea is not just that a function can return a value. The bigger idea is that we can hide a decision inside that function. Sometimes that decision is based on the screen size, but sometimes it is based on a calculation that we simply don't want to repeat everywhere. For example, an inner radius function that calculates the inner border radius of a nested child. And this is a very common problem, because in web design, when you have a rounded element inside another rounded element, the inner radius should not be the same as the outer radius, because that can look weird. And to find a better matching inner radius, we have this formula. Outer radius minus the gap between the outer and inner element. In other words, border radius minus padding. Let's turn that into a function. The function takes the outer radius and the padding between the outer and inner element, and then it returns the inner radius. But how do we calculate this? We use the max function to make sure that the result never goes below 0, because a negative border radius would not make sense. And then I simply calculate the outer radius minus the padding. Now on the border radius property of the inner element, I call that function and pass the border radius and the padding. Most of the time, the outer border radius will be a custom property anyways, since that should stay consistent on the entire page. And the inner border radius is the one that needs to be calculated as it depends on the padding. And now if we check the result in the browser, we can see that it matches perfectly. Now, before you start using custom functions, remember that browser support is still limited, so don't use them in production yet. It will not work in every browser yet. But let me know in the comments, what logic would you put into a custom CSS function? I'd love to see your examples. My name is Fabian, and this was Coding to Go.